is the Seahawkers podcast, episode 394. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, and joining me on this game day, my good buddy, Adam Emmert.
Heck yeah, man. We're going to get one out here real quick for you guys. And look, I think we have to give a tip of the cap to Brandon. He's playing injured today. I don't know if you could hear it. I could. But is that from doing your due diligence as a 12 at the stadium? Is that why you sound as you do?
Yeah, I still haven't recovered from the vocalization expressed on game day. So I have learned something. One, I need to not go to a Sunday game the week of a Thursday game. There's just not enough recovery time built in there.
Yeah, I think we now know that you are too old to operate on a short week. I need
my rest day, my mandatory veteran rest day. And
Absolutely.
I need to load up on lozenges. Now, I think part of it is because I have the cough on top of the hoarseness from Sunday.
Right.
So it's a slower recovery.
Gotcha.
I'll get through it, though. I sound 100 times better than I did on Monday.
Oh, well, that's good. I appreciate the yeoman's effort to make this happen. It's a better effort than, say, I don't know, our entire defense gave on Sunday. So,
well, if I could maybe just play some man defense on my vocal cords instead of zone defense, I wonder if maybe that might help.
Hey, maybe you might look into how to stop, I don't know, say half an offense, the running part of it. They do that now. Even
when they load up with extra offensive linemen, I can't tell you. Well, I know Clinton mentioned it on the broadcast, and I don't know if it comes through on the television as it does there in the stadium, but they were reporting 2 or 3 guys eligible ahead of many of their run plays, which means they were bringing in extra offensive linemen wearing number 60 and 70 and lining them up in eligible positions like tight end, fullback, just to get more blockers on the field. And yeah, if anybody wonders what we've been talking about over these past few years of, it was only a matter of time, Adam, when the NFL was going to figure out this pendulum swing of, okay, when you start getting defensive players, when you're playing for speed, you start getting smaller guys and they're super fast. But then when you put those guys on the field and then you put offensive linemen on the field against them, you can just run the ball and those guys just cannot stop it.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for years. The first teams that really committed to having a power run offense in this day and age, we're going to have big success. And not that the Panthers are having big success, but they did have big success against the Seahawks that day. And I think they will playing that brand of ball. Aren't they 500 since they've kind of made this switch to being a more power running team? And it's just the hard part of watching it is that's the type of football I would love to play. Just pound it down people's throats, and to have it happen to you, it's demoralizing. And you watch this defense become demoralized by the end of the game. And even they had 9, 10, 11 guys up in the box towards the end of the game, and it was just way too late. And they just still ran it right down the throat.
Oh, well, and by that time, too, the time of possession disparity kicks in. When your defense has been on the field for 30 minutes already, like they've already played a full game of football and you're asking them to play 10 more minutes and it's just crushing runs. And that's what happens when you fall down 17-0 to a team that runs the ball as consistently as Carolina. I said going into this game, I was Team Clinton. I wanted to receive the ball first if you win the toss, so that way you can put points up on the board, put the pressure on them, and that way if you're the team that gets the turnover on the first drive, maybe you can go up 2 touchdowns and then you can start to take them out of what their game is. And instead, we gave them the football, they score immediately, we give them the football back, they score immediately again, and now we play right into the hands of the Panthers.
Okay, so you actually think that deferring was part of the problem here?
It was part of the problem. It wasn't the entire problem because ultimately they do get the ball back at the end of the first half. They're able to get the touchdown before the half. Then they get the ball back at the start of the second half. And it felt like after that first score in the second half, I thought that they were going to be fine. I thought they were going to get the comeback. So I can't completely say it was the problem, but it illustrates why I am tending toward leaning of go ahead and accepting the kickoff.
You're both wrong, and that's fine. You guys can keep being wrong, and that's enjoy it because deferring is by far the better choice. And on top of all of that, the idea that this had something to play into them going down early as much as they did, you can't defer for 3 drives in a row. So they got down 3 scores. Right. That's not because of a deferring problem. Like if they get the ball first and they score right away, that's not a problem with the coin flip or deciding to defer. That's a problem with your craptastic defense. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And it did set them up for the back-to-back scores at the end of the first half and beginning of the second and get you right back in it or extend your lead. I'm forever team defer. I don't see any real strategic advantage to taking the ball first other than if you just like offense.
I do like offense because I recognize that our defense is craptastic, and I think that goes into part of the calculation. You're not always guaranteed the ball last right before the end of the half just because you deferred the kickoff. Like, it doesn't always work out that way.
It doesn't always work out that way, but you have a lot more control over that than, at the beginning of the game, right?
Well, you have full control over getting the ball first at the beginning of the game if you win the coin toss.
Not if you lose the coin toss.
No, I said if you win.
Oh, if you win. Okay.
All right. Well, I don't want to talk that much more about this Panthers game. It stunk.
No, let's talk about this upcoming Niners game. That's going to be so much more upbeat and positive.
How do they fix the ability to stop the run? Now, against the Niners, part of fixing the ability is not having Deebo Samuel on the field because Shanahan decided to run Deebo up the middle more and got him hurt once again. Apparently, he says he tried to call timeout right before that play, which feels like one of those coach things that they say to try and cover for themselves after the fact.
Yeah, he's not the only NFC West team to be doing some lying to cover their tracks this week. I'll get to the other one here, do better. But yeah, there isn't a way to stop this 49ers team with this defense on the ground. There's just not. They don't have the horses. And, you see Pete get up there in his presser and be like, oh, I got to do better. And, we've got these things. And the one thing that alarmed me in his last presser is like, yeah, it kind of looks like it might take a little longer to fix in maybe like a week or two, like
maybe an off season, Pete.
Yeah, that's what that was code for. Yeah. No doubt about it. They don't have the
dudes. So this is I know there's so many people asking that question of how do the Seahawks fix this run defense? And I think for both you and I, the answer is they can't. They don't have the right personnel for it. I think they do have the coaching for it. I think that they have enough talented coaches between Sean Desai, between Pete Carroll, Clint Hurt. I don't think the answer is cutting out the coaching staff. I think the answer is within the personnel.
Well, they're definitely going to give the coaching staff one more season.
Yeah.
In terms of Desai, Hurt, those guys.
Well, they have to if they're really intent on switching to the more Fangio style defense. They have to at least give those guys the personnel that they need to run that style of defense.
Not only that, but personnel that can stay on the field. It really turned and got bad when Al Woods went out, when Shelby Harris went out. You heard Pete lament that quite a bit, but no, it's not happening. It's just not happening for the rest of this year, fixing the run defense. It's just, you just got to hope to run into a team that isn't a heavy run team. And somehow we seem to run into all of them this year. And the Niners are maybe the epitome of the worst matchup that the Seahawks could have all season. They could lose by tons this game.
If they do just continuously run the ball. Now, they're starting their either third or fourth string quarterback. I know you liked Mr. Irrelevant coming out of the draft. I know, we both have an affinity for Josh Johnson because he's been in the league 87 years. We grew up in the Josh Johnson quarterback era, back with Joe Montana, Phil Simms, Josh Johnson. Those were like guys that we grew up with. He continues to be in the league, and now he is backing up Brock Purdy.
Yeah, my affinity for Josh Johnson revolves around the fact that man has been able to keep getting them checks from almost every single team in the league. I don't know how many teams Josh Johnson has played for, but it's got to be at least 20. I mean, I'm not even kidding.
I don't know if it's that many, but it's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know that it matters, though. Does it really matter? I do think it does, play a factor and everything, because I do think Purdy has played well in his opportunity and stayed within the system. And you see the 49ers trust him, too. It's not just all dink and dunk stuff. I mean, they're letting him do some other stuff down the field as well. So if it's Purdy time, it's pretty much over.
Okay, so here we go. He's played for the Bucks, the Niners in 2012, the Browns, Bengals, Niners again in 2014, Bengals again, Jets, Colts, Bills, Ravens, Giants, Texans, Raiders, Commanders, Lions, 49ers again in 2020, 2021, Jets a second time in 2021, Ravens a second time in 2021, Broncos in 2022, and Niners for the third time in 2022. Are you counting? Have you reached your toes yet?
I started counting, but then I think I missed a couple early. And so I was up to at least 14.
It's got to be at least 14. I thought for sure we had him on the Seahawks for a bit, but I guess not. Did we?
No, we brought him in, and he was in Denver too.
He was in Denver. That was where he was before, because he was on the Denver practice squad when the 49ers signed him here just a couple weeks ago. So I think that maybe we brought him in for I think the Seahawks might have brought him in either for training camp and never made the final roster. But so he's in his Wikipedia, he does not have the Seahawks officially as part of his list of teams.
Keep getting them checks, Josh Hudson. Good for you, bud.
And as much as I made it out to be that he is really, really old, he is only 36. So if he plays to Tom Brady's age, he can hit all these teams.
And he can actually do that because he barely sees the field. His body's got to be in pretty good shape.
Right.
So, yeah, you got 49ers offense in this run game that they're playing well. And somehow the Niners have, although they're still getting injured, have managed to kind of miss the catastrophic injury. It sounds like Jimmy G has a pretty good chance to come back close to the playoffs.
Deebo's out for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then CMC had a scary injury a couple weeks back, and it turned out he just missed like getting, CMC type hurt for the rest of the year. And so they come in with enough of their dudes. They're going to run it all over them. And then you pair that with the 49ers defense, which is relatively healthy at the moment.
Except for the corners. Their corners are a little bit dinged up.
With the pass rush, does it matter?
Probably not. But I think that's where Seattle has an opportunity to maybe drive the ball down the field. As if our line can hold up long enough to get the ball to DK and Tyler. Because I don't know how much linebackers are going to be a factor in this, because Dre Greenlaw is playing so well. Fred Warner, obviously playing well. Hufanga playing well. So I just don't see Seattle, especially the tight ends have been kind of absent even the last couple weeks. So it's really going to come down to, and we are going to have a healthy Ken Walker back, but if he doesn't have any blocking up front, that's not going to matter much either.
No, I do think Gino and company put up their customary 17 to 27 points. And
if they get 27, I give them a shot.
Okay. I really, this is my most pessimistic game of the year.
And the reason why I say that 27 gives them a decent shot is that I think with this being a Thursday game rather than a Sunday game, has the chance to take out some of the physicality that we might expect. And so I think it brings it more to the level. Because yes, this 49ers team would out physical the Seahawks team most any day of the week. I think having it on a Thursday gives it a chance to be closer to even.
And you always have those weird divisional matchup games that happen and they get unusually close for no reason. We could be the Rams to the 49ers this year. Like
we have been traditionally.
Yeah. I mean, the Rams have been that team that even when they're terrible, somehow beat the Seahawks when they're really good. Like we have that potential, but it just all comes down to if the Niners make a bunch of self-inflicted mistakes, turn the ball over a bunch, Sure, Seahawks could come out on top, but of the remaining 4 games, this is the least likely of all of them that they'll win. Losing to the Raiders and the Panthers is just, it's inexcusable, and it really hurt their chances going forward.
Yeah, those are 2 of the games that you look at, especially if they end up missing the playoffs. You would look at those 2 games. Their playoff chances took a huge hit with the loss to Carolina because you got to play the Chiefs coming up. That's a team that
Chiefs are a way better matchup. They're a way better matchup for the Seahawks
because the defense isn't very good. And so that's a team that you could potentially hang with score for score. Plus it's a passing team.
Exactly.
And based on what we've seen from the Chiefs, they don't tend to adjust to the run, not with much success anyway.
Look at Andy Reid in his track record, his entire career as a head coach. He doesn't believe in running the football. He just doesn't. Never has, never will. And when you got the likes of McNabb and Mahomes and those guys as your quarterbacks, I can see why.
But then you have the Jets, which is a tough team to match up against defensively.
I don't think so.
They have a pretty tough
run
defense.
the ball very well. They don't run the ball very well. Compared to the Seahawks offense. I thought you meant the offense against their defense.
Oh no, there's not much that I worry about offensively from the Jets this year.
No.
But it's our offense against their defense because they're strong against the pass. That's a game that I really hope that we have a healthy stable of backs for.
Okay. That's a game I worry about very little in comparison to the others, only because it doesn't seem to matter what defense that they play. Gino and company puts up their 24 points.
Right.
And I think the defense actually has the opportunity to shut down a one-dimensional passing offense in the Jets. I mean, since losing Breece Hall, it's just not the same. Mike White basically died on the football field last week. We don't even know if he's going to be out there.
They're saying that he might play this weekend.
Good Lord, if he does. He went to the hospital.
Yeah.
After the game.
So what do you put the Seahawks playoff chances then going ahead based on this game coming up against the Niners tonight, based on the games going forward?
45%.
That sounds almost like the exact same percent that I've heard from other places.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I just pulled that out of my butt. So, but that's what it feels like in my gut. Yeah.
Because you have the Commanders, you have the Giants, you have the Lions who are surging, and Seattle playing for 2 spots essentially.
Right. And
I don't think the Giants make it.
No. And the Commanders could fold any day. You never know.
And the Lions is a team that we actually have the tiebreaker over.
Yeah. I mean, they can do it, but you're going to have to beat the Rams and the Jets.
Yeah.
Or pull one out of these Niners Chiefs game. Like get one.
Win the Niners and Chiefs and lose Rams Jets.
Now that would be the most Seahawky thing ever.
I could see it happening.
And I wish I could
I mean, based on how we've played bad teams.
Oh, I know. I wish I could be more optimistic about this Niners game too. I hate coming on here and being like, yeah, okay, well, we're just going to get waxed.
Oh, find me a fan that feels good about this game.
There are some, man. I guarantee you that there's a couple of the little flockers that could spin you a nice little story about how they believe the Seahawks are going. They're the same dudes like Tim Moon. Tim Moon can make anything sound positive. He's got a gift for such things. And sometimes he's freaking right. Like at the beginning of this year, he was all in on this team.
On Gino, and yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, pump the brakes there, Timmy. No, I was the one who needed to pump the brakes. Tim was right.
Well, I did predict on What If that the Seahawks would get a 24-22 victory. So you're welcome.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I did it for you.
Yeah. You did it for you and your hawker. Don't act like this was altruistic by you. No.
Whatever. You crapped all over me last time I predicted a loss.
Exactly. I did that for you. I crapped all over you for picking. I did that for you so you get on the right side of this.
All right.
Look, Josh Johnson could have 2 picks. CMC could have 1 rando fumble, and the Seahawks play clean football on the offensive side of the ball, and it's 24-22. That can happen. What's
up with Brandon Ayuk being like an actual decent receiver all of a sudden? Like, how does that work?
I think there was a maturity issue that needed to be overcame. And
he fixed it, huh?
That's what happened. Yeah. Sounds like it was this last year. But I don't know. I'm still not a big believer in Ayuk. Like a lot of people claim he's a very good receiver. He's fine. He's a league average guy.
He's playing better than league average to this point this year.
Maybe statistically.
When you're catching as many touchdowns as he is, I consider that to be a pretty good statistic.
I like touchdowns. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. The eyeball test with Ayuk, I'm just like, okay. If you put Tyler or DK in that offense, in that position of Ayuk, they totally eclipse his numbers.
Oh, sure.
He's fine.
Are we going to even have to worry about the receivers in this game? Will they go Panthers on us and not even eclipse 120 passing yards and just continue to just hammer the rock?
Yes. Why would you do anything different? Why? I don't understand. Like, people talk about things like that. And it's like, every time I play the Seahawks, there's no doubt what I do. I get in 2-back sets, all the jumbo stuff, and I just cram it down the throat and just be like, do something. And the Seahawks be like, well, we can't. So, and there you go. I don't think it's any coincidence either that we heard Pete talking about Jamal Adams this week and having him come back and visit, like, just to kind of plant that seed of, oh yeah. And then we got Jamal coming back next year. Like, this is going to be okay. Like, we're missing Jamal. Remember, we're missing Jamal.
He was a big factor in stopping the run for the defense. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a legit problem, but yeah, beyond Al Woods, we have no size, none. And you just see these guys, they're just getting turned every play.
Yeah.
They're just getting turned. Like, they can't keep parallel to the line of scrimmage and then react off the block and plug the hole. They're getting turned and just pushed around, and then it's over.
And then they run some sort of stunt to get another lineman up to take out one of the linebackers. And the other linebacker, whether it's Brooks or Barton, will ultimately make a bad decision on which direction to go. And so both of our linebackers are taken out of the play when they're running it up the middle.
And more times than not, it's Barton just like going and running into something for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a really cool guy and a fine individual. I don't want to see Cody Barton on the field anymore.
Darrell Taylor, also a liability in the run game this year.
The whole team's a liability in the run game.
Woolen's been kind of a liability as far as rookie corner goes. Although I have a hard time putting too much on Woolen. I mean, Deion Sanders, it wasn't like he played the run at all.
No. He made lots of business decisions, and good for him. But, I mean, yes, Woolen has missed a couple tackles. He's also made a few tackles too. But if you're relying on your corners to be the pillars of your run defense, you're in screwed zone.
Screwed zone kind of feels like where we're going tonight.
Yeah. I don't want to see it, but I'm going to watch it in freaking Arkansas.
Oh, you're going all the way down to Arkansas to watch it. Bouncing to New York before the game, Arkansas for the game.
Yeah.
What times?
Well, that's just the beginning too, because then I go to Alabama, and then I go to Seattle, and then I go to California, and then maybe by Christmas I'll be back in Montana.
You're closing this.
This is the last big hurrah.
Yeah, you're closing it out with a bang.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I mean, I'm still going to do a few going forward, just for a little extra. But as the lead guy, this is it.
All right. Well, this is it for the first half of the show. What do you say we get to the second half?
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
And before we get there, I want to recognize our thirst-murdering compatriots, Liquid Death, one of the new water brands out there. They look like tall boys of beer, actually. Just some cool mountain spring water that's available in still, sparkling, and 3 different flavors.
There's all sorts of good stuff. If you can't find a flavor of Liquid Death that you enjoy, you are probably irredeemable as a human.
Yes, there's such a variety that you ought to be able to find one. And if for some reason you don't like flavor, then you go with the still water and you like it.
I go plain sparkling, baby. That's the money one for me.
And that's because you're such a sparkly personality.
Absolutely. I'm just a ray of sunshine in everybody's lives.
You can go get Liquid Death at your local Albertsons, Fred Meyer, Target, or Chevron Extra Mile, or find a Liquid Death retailer near you with their store locator tool at liquiddeath.com/Hawkra. That's liquiddeath.com/Hawkra, HAWKRA. The Seahawks this week, Adam, they moved into the number 2 overall pick as we look ahead to the 2023 draft. Unfortunately, Russell Wilson goes out with concussion, and even more unfortunately, Now they play the Arizona Cardinals coming up this weekend, who also lost their quarterback due to an ACL injury. And I suddenly find myself wanting the Arizona Cardinals to win a football game. I need the Arizona Cardinals to win a football game this weekend. And I'm worried that they could easily lose to the Broncos. Colt McCoy, I don't think, has the Denver number the way he has the Seattle number.
I think they're better with Colt McCoy. I actually watched quite a bit of that Cardinals-Patriots game while I was on the plane. And I found myself, I'm so invested in this draft pick thing that I found myself rooting for the Cardinals. So I was like, okay, they're at 4 wins. That's only one more than the Broncos. I don't want the Cardinals getting a good pick. Like, yeah, I really hope they beat the Patriots. I really was rooting for it. And they actually played a decent game. It was a tight game overall. And I think they can give the Broncos a run for their money. It's a toss-up, man. And I do think they're better with Colt McCoy. I think they actually like Colt. Oh,
you mean as a team, like the teammates like Colt too?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, whereas with Kyler, they were kind of like, whatever, man. Like, go out there and, just be all about you, I guess, if you want. Cool.
Isn't it wild that Colt McCoy has been in the league just about as long as Josh Johnson?
That is.
He started with the Browns back in 2010, and I think Josh Johnson maybe came in the league the year before. They're the same age.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Just a fun little trivia fact.
Keep getting them checks, Colt.
Colt McCoy's old.
Josh Johnson old.
We're old.
So it's Ripine. You got the Ripine this week for the Broncos.
Yeah, is that who they're rolling with? Russ is in concussion protocol, not going to be out in time for the game.
He was knocked out cold. There's no way he should be playing this next week.
Yeah.
For his safety, man. I did not like seeing that.
Yeah, according to Broncos Wire on Wednesday evening, he's still in concussion protocol, so likely going to be the Ripien.
I am very much ready for this season to be over for the Broncos, just so I can then have sympathy and defend Russ going forward. Because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the Russ slander, and I want to have his back again. But I need that draft pick. So
he actually won over some Broncos fans this past week. One with the comeback, getting 3 touchdown passes, hanging in there, and then that run play. Essentially sacrificing himself trying to get a first down. Now he does get concussed in the meantime, but I think with that, he did win over some Broncos fans.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously ownership isn't too worried about his contract and all the money they have wrapped up into it. Because I saw today they're going to throw $100 million just at the stadium this offseason in upgrades. Maybe they can fix up that freaking dump up in the mountains.
Well, after they, lit it ablaze this offseason, they probably do
the
need
gods lit it ablaze. Yes. Yeah.
That's who I meant by they. I was being vague.
Hashtag let's ride curse, baby. But the number 2 pick, think about that. I thought maybe top 10. If it was top 5, okay. But top 2? No. I am definitely rooting for every 4-win team to win this week.
Yeah. Who do we need to look to see? Do we need to let people know who our collective Hawkra needs to be behind going into this weekend? Because, yeah, we can't have any of these 4-win teams continuing to lose going into this week.
They all need one more win, and I think we're good.
This is going to be the toughest one in terms of testing the Let's Ride curse with the Arizona Cardinals, because they also have a cursed field. I think it's going to balance it out. It may balance it out. That's what I'm worried about.
Now, that cursed field on Thursday night, I was watching that, and I thought it was just Seahawks specific, but it's not.
It's
you saw dudes dropping like flies on Thursday.
Which is weird because that's a grass field. Everybody's talking about how we need to get rid of turf fields, but Arizona.
Well, I don't care if it's made out of diamonds, like if it's built on an Indian burial ground, you're going to have these problems.
Don't they have to do like archaeological assessments and that sort of thing?
They must have had a crappy one.
Or their owner has enough money to pay off the right people.
Exactly. Maybe it's such an old ancient civilization that it's built on top of that it was too deep. They just didn't find it.
Colts, rooting for them over the Vikings on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
They're 4-8-1. So having that one tie
helps a lot.
That could help a lot toward that draft pick. Saints, Falcons. I think the Saints could win that one. Obviously, Ritter going to be starting for the Falcons, so they're starting to back up quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie quarterback.
What are the Falcons at? They're at like 5 wins, right?
Yeah, they're at 5.
6 wins?
Yep.
Okay.
Bears play the Eagles.
Yeah.
So that's why we need Denver to lose. Because they just got the second spot based on strength of schedule over the Bears.
Oh, is that what the breaker there is?
Yeah, because both teams are 3-10 right now.
Now, see, I could see the Bears and Justin Fields pulling out one more throughout the rest of this year. More so than I do the Broncos.
So after Philly, for the Bears, they have the Bills, Lions, and Vikings. You think they pull one out?
What a rough way to end this. I figured they would have had to have had, one bottom feeder on their schedule remaining.
Nope. The Falcons was the closest, and they lost 27-24.
What's the last one?
The Falcons was the last time they played somewhat easy.
Last game.
Oh, last game is against the Vikings. So Vikings could be in the playoffs, and that game could maybe not matter.
Right. They could be resting everybody.
Or Chicago does play at home, and they could have one of those weird snow equalizer games against the Eagles, Bills, or Vikings that allows them to get one of those wins.
It's possible.
We got to hope for snow games down the stretch in Chicago.
Well, shoot, even if they end up with the 3 or 4 pick, I mean, anything top 5 is a freaking godsend, right?
Yeah. I can't be too upset about having a top 5 pick. Oh, and we need the Rams to beat the Packers because the Rams are 4-9 right now.
Okay.
Gosh, we're to the point of rooting for the Rams and Cardinals because they're so bad this year.
I know. And here's the thing. It could end up being that once we play the Rams, us losing to the Rams, like we may not have much of a shot at the playoffs, and us losing to the Rams might be better for our deal.
It might be.
I don't want to think that way, but it's possible that it ends up going there.
I want to end the season on a win regardless. There's not, even if you don't have a chance to make the playoffs, it just feels better to end the season with a win. Ultimately, we had the one really good season in 2013 where we got to finish the Super Bowl season with a win. But even, wasn't it just last year where the last game of the season was a win?
Look, if it comes down to the last week of the year where a win against the Rams means that you end up with the 4th pick or the 5th pick, and a loss means you end up with the 2nd pick, catfish your feelings. And I'm totally good with a loss at the end of that. Just so I don't care how you feel at the end of the year at that point. Because I'm going to feel a lot better about having the number 2 pick.
Look, I don't need my brain to go through all this right now. We'll get there when they get there. And I see what you're saying, though. It could end up being better for our deal in terms of our team and everything moving forward. Something to think about. And I just don't want that scenario. Can the Rams just win the next 3 straight?
Sounds good.
They definitely need to beat the Broncos.
That would be great.
Well, other things that are great, it's our members of the flock. And I want to thank our executive producers, DCH, Dustin Mock, Brian Shaw, and Rebecca Christensen.
Amazing winners at life.
Alan Kahn gave us a raise. Well, went ahead and pledged for the entire season rather than going month to month with the $12 annual donation. So thanks to Alan.
Dude, big thanks, bud.
William Nyberg came into the flock at 15 SEK. I want to say, is that Swedish? Swedish dollars? I don't know. SEK.
I don't know. Sounds like a scam. I don't know.
You think so? Is that not real currency?
I don't know. Do you have to send it to a Nigerian prince or anything?
No. That's Swedish krona. And then up the pledge to $40 in Swedish krona. So Welcome to the flock to William.
That's amazing. Yeah, appreciate it, William. That's cool stuff, especially since it's real.
Jeannie Bowen also updated her pledge going to from monthly to annually at the 144 annual spot. So thanks to Jimbo.
Heck yeah, man. Look at you guys. It does feel nice to be recognized that way by all you folks with the extra stuff we've been doing. So appreciate that, man. You guys are really making the value for value model work.
Oh, and Jeannie came in with another $40 donation via Venmo. @Hawkra is the Venmo handle. and said, here are October, November payments that didn't go through on my Patreon. Forgot to update to a new card. Plus a bonus for Adam's interception rant. Go Hawks.
I appreciate that. That one made me mad, man. Like I hadn't had a good one in a while. That interception was definitely the catalyst for it.
And we also had Dan J come in at £3 a month. So welcome to the flock to Dan.
Heck yeah, Dan. Dan's the man. He's known it his whole life. People have probably told him that all the time.
Dan the man. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to become a member of the flock, you can go to getintheflock.com and you can support the show at any level you wish to choose. And if you come in at $3 a month and above, you can get into our Discord group where we chat on game day. If you come in at $12 a month and above, that gets you into our Facebook group. And you can hang out throughout the week. We chat there, post messages. And they even started up a thing on Facebook now where you can do the sequential chat like on Discord.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because honestly, the Ring of Honor has been great for, the week of leading up to the game. And then Discord's been amazing on game day. And it's all kind of gone hand in glove. So it'll be interesting to see how that new feature works.
I open it up for people to try out, but I think everybody's in Discord anyway. So
okay.
I made it an option for those who don't want to make the switch over from Facebook to Discord, but I think we've almost got everybody.
Yeah, I think so. The only thing that the one legit criticism of the Discord is like, I don't know everybody by their handles, right? So I don't know who everybody is sometimes. And that's kind of a bummer. On
Facebook, we use our actual names. So you get to know everybody.
Yeah. And with that said, I know quite a few, I've pieced it together, but I don't need to do Columbo work to just sit and talk with the flockers.
Well, you got to go into the roster Discord channel. That's where everybody posts their names and where they're at.
Oh, see, there you go. Didn't know.
You didn't know?
No.
That's fine.
I didn't post mine in there.
Yeah, but we know you.
That one's pretty easy to figure out, Adam the Rant. Like, you should be able to put 2 and 2 together on that one. If not, you might be a Rams fan because you're real dumb.
Looking at the Pick'em League standings, in first place, hanging on, my Dixon is bigger, 135 points. Kalispell MT Hawk at 134. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Ian at 133. A penny for my Dixon to Monet at 133. And Chelsea Hawks, the Sofa King, and Well Pete said we were awesome, all in at 132 points.
And what a cool group. And every so often, almost every week, we get a couple new names that pop in, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always blown away by a couple and just that make me chuckle. You guys, your creativity is endless. I'm so impressed.
The winner for the week was Fernando Tejada at 10 picks correct. And yeah, Fernando wins every single. I swear that Fernando's been with us
forever,
at least since year 2, maybe going back to year 1. And at least wins 1 week every single year of the Pick'em League that we've done it.
At least. Yeah. Fernando's like OG flocker, man.
Yeah. And the reason why it really sticks out to me is because postage to Mexico is more expensive.
Exactly. Well, sending it to Mexico, man. The postman's got to bribe some cartels along the way.
But he always gets us. But I always put enough money in the Pick'em prize so it makes it to its destination.
That's exactly right.
They know not to take the signed memorabilia or whatever it is that Fernando picked. They just know to take the cash and then make sure that envelope gets there.
Look, your cartel connections have come in very handy throughout the years, and this is another one. So,
in so many different ways.
Yeah. Being a former drug kingpin. Yeah.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, basically Breaking Bad is based off of Brandon's life.
Nobody needs to know that.
Well, now they do.
Damn it. Part of the deal.
But hey, you got screwed out of the royalties, so I at least want you to get the cred.
All right.
Stupid Bryan Cranston.
Getting all this cool royalty checks.
Yeah, and fame.
Mike writes in, says, Brandon, it's Mike again. Big Hawker problem. Abby, son Henry's ballerina girlfriend and possible future and daughter-in-law. Just saying. Obviously needs to wear her Hawks earrings for the games. The high school winter formal is the same night as the Thursday night Niners game. Abby is planning on getting all dressed up and wearing some stupid diamond earrings instead. Should Henry dump her? Now, before you answer this, I should say that Mike wrote back in and said, problem solved. Son Henry took ballerina Abby to her first Hawks game yesterday. She wore her earrings. Clearly, they have no power. Catfish the Niners, catfish the Rams, catfish the Cardinals, catfish the refs, catfish Mr. Irrelevant. Go Hawks.
All of the above, no doubt about it. Yeah, I guess the girlfriend lives to fight another day, and she can wear her stupid diamond earrings to the winter formal.
Yep. The Bard checks in, says, hi, fellas. Don't want to talk about the defense, as I'm sure you'll mention it. However, we did sneak into the second spot for the draft as well as 17th. What is more exciting, though, is that we have the second round pick, too. So by my calculations, we have 4 picks in the top 50. Yes, 4. Now that's exciting. For the rest of the season, let's just stay respectable. We are certainly one and done in the playoffs. I totally agree with Adam. Let's just stay positive. Go Hawks from the Bard.
See, John and I, we're always on the same page, even when we're not. It's because he's a genius and a scholar.
Yeah.
And but all those picks, that high, man, that's exciting stuff. You might be able to stop the run after you use those picks. I'm just saying.
I mean, we better be able to stop the run after those picks and an off season.
Mm-hmm.
Pete is not going to stand for getting out physical this way.
You wouldn't think.
He couldn't.
It's an affront to everything that he stands for as a football coach.
And I know that there's people out there that are on the Fire Pete train for how the defense has gone this year.
What? No, there's nobody out there saying Fire Pete this year.
There is. There are people out there saying Fire Pete. And the thing is that you can't do that when the offense is working the way it is. Like, we finally found an offense to go along with. Why would you get rid of the one guy that you think has proven could solve the situation on the defense? And then what are we going to give up on the offensive side of the ball if Pete gets fired?
Why would you fire the head coach of this franchise, who's the most consistently winning coach in franchise history, right? Especially in a year to which everybody predicted them to be like a 2-win team, and they're a fringy playoff team. Like, and then fire Pete Carroll? Okay, sure. Like, did he piss in their Cheerios one morning? Like, what's going on?
I think there's that much frustration about how bad this defense is and wanting to hold somebody accountable, because it's not just Ken Norton now. It's now also this new defensive regime. Pete Carroll is the common factor between those two terrible defenses that we saw last year and this year. So Pete has to go. That's the rationale.
That's crap rationale. I mean, they just got rid of Bobby Wagner, the quarterback of the defense. I mean, that's as big of a move as getting rid of Russ.
Pete's call. He deserves to go.
Right. Okay. Yeah. They turned over this roster big time. And sure, it struggled a bit this year, but this is the rebuilding year. And you're still good. Like, why? Okay, that's fine. Whatever, man. If you're on Team Fire Pete, you're always going to be on Team Fire Pete. And that's just the way it is. And good luck to you. You must be a miserable 12.
Unless he wins the Super Bowl, he must be fired every single year.
All right. Yeah.
Ought to do better and better at life.
Might do better this week is for the stupid Arizona Cardinals. This franchise is so pathetic on every single level because they lie publicly all the time. And then they try to cover the tracks. So, and I can't wait for the cover up on this one eventually, because we all remember the Kyler thing, right? Where they throw in the, hey, he's got to study 4 hours a week.
Right.
And then they take it out. They're like, no, we didn't mean that he didn't study. No, don't worry about it. Like all that, right? Here's their latest one. I love this one. Steve Keim, general manager, steps down for, quote, health reasons. And as per, quote, the law, they're not going to talk about any of it after his team gives massive extensions to Kingsbury and Kyler, falls flat on its face. Kyler busts up an ACL. Then they lose to the Patriots on Thursday night. And Steve Keim steps down for, quote, health reasons. Sure, my ass, you lying, stupid Redbirds. What a bullshit cover story. I don't buy it for 2 seconds. Arizona Cardinals, do better. Just tell the truth, man.
Hey, it's more healthy for him to not have to deal with answering tough questions about extending Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury going into these final few weeks. How do you not understand that?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I mean, it makes sense, I suppose, but can't you just be like, yeah, so he's stepping down because he did a bad job.
They want to find a way for him to maybe exit gracefully.
I'll tell you what, though, it does hurt my feelings that he's stepping down for, quote, health reasons, because when healthy, Steve Keim has been one of the best contributors to the Seattle Seahawks.
I don't want him to get rid of Cliff Kingsbury. Like, I hear a lot of conversation out there about how Cliff needs to go. You just haven't given him enough time. You haven't given Cliff enough time to really get that offensive genius. He just needs, once you replace the general manager, that will give him the opportunity. You know what I think the Arizona Cardinals should do? Hear me out on this.
Okay.
Give Cliff Kingsbury the GM authority, because then he can go out and get the players he needs to run the offense in the way that it needs to be run.
Yeah.
This is a GM problem. Keep Cliff around.
But once they bring in that new GM, if they don't give Cliff the ability to buy the groceries, right?
Yeah.
The new GM comes in, going to have to give Cliff at least 5 years to gel with the new GM just to see.
Well, that's no problem, because they already signed him to a 6-year extension. So he just finishes his contract.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to give him that time.
They had the foresight to give him that long-term extension. You got to ride it out.
Yeah, he's worth it.
Well, might do better this week. It's for my wife. She could probably hear me talking in the other room right now. So I might say this a little bit. I might say this a little quieter, but no, do better is for her, for reminding me after the game that the last time that I went to a Seattle game, the Seahawks lost. And I just want to point out that while that may be factually accurate, while I'm at the game, I text her after the Seahawks go down 10-0, probably like poop and barf emojis. And she asks, what's wrong? And I say, what do you mean what's wrong? We're down 10-0. And she texts back that she hasn't seen it because she was out sledding with the kids, enjoying like the outdoors in the wintertime in Montana.
Yeah.
Well, then it goes down 17-0. It's at that point that she texts me to say that she has returned home. She just turned on the TV and the Seahawks scored. And so I just want to point out the fact that, yes, maybe the last time I went to a game, they lost, but also the Seahawks scored more points after she started watching the game.
Yeah.
So really it's on her for not watching from the beginning. The Seahawks clearly would have won if not for her. And so to my wife, do better.
She knows what she did. Jeez Louise, out playing in the snow with the kids, doing good mom things instead of trying to ensure a Seahawks victory. Where are her priorities?
Not on making the playoffs, obviously.
I don't know, man. I know a few divorce lawyers if you're looking.
No. We don't need to go that far.
Okay.
You said going into this week that we were one and done in the playoffs anyway. She probably heard that and thought, well, if we're not going to, if we're going to the playoffs and we're just going to be one and done anyway, I can go enjoy the snow. So probably the do better should be for you.
Yeah. So ultimately, as always, it's my fault. It sounds a lot like what I heard last time I dealt with a divorce lawyer.
Also your fault.
Yeah. 100%.
On to Better at Life.
All right, man. My Better at Life this week is for the U.S. scientists that had a massive breakthrough this week in the field of fusion energy. I don't know if you saw this, Brandon, but for the first time ever, they had a actual net gain in energy using a fusion reactor. Enough. It was a couple of megajoules or something like that. I mean, ultimately the net gain was enough to boil a couple cups of water. So let's not get too excited. But that's way more than they have ever done before. This is the technology that might set humanity free. This might unlock prosperity for everybody. It's the technology that everybody always says It's just 10 years away. It's just 10 more years away. And this is such a huge step forward in fusion energy that I think it's not getting the love and attention that it deserves. I think this is a big stepping stone for us as a species. I'm super excited for it. Those guys, they did it all with big, giant freaking lasers, which is also super cool. Just super neat. I think it's just a testament to their hard work and ingenuity. U.S. scientists for making fusion net energy gains better at life than Skip Bayless.
Yeah, I remember. Now, is this cold fusion? Because I remember that being the thing that ultimately was going to help unlock our energy.
Elizabeth Shue is not involved. She is not involved in this.
No.
So no, this is not cold fusion. This is regular hot star type fusion.
What was that in? Was that in
The Saint?
The Saint. Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Val Kilmer and
she was in the first season of The Boys. Have you watched that yet?
Have not.
Yeah.
I used to have a big crush on Elizabeth Shue.
We all did, dude.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
Adventures in Babysitting. That's what did it.
It was always The Saint for me.
Oh, that's where it started for you?
Yeah. Nerdy scientist girl? Are you kidding?
My Better Life this week. Everybody that showed up. Clinton and I hanging out with the little flockers ahead of the game, after the game. Got to meet up with Ed Essie, his buddy Stefan. Got to meet up with Amy, who came over, who made the trip over from Squim. We hung out, ate pizza after the game. Also hung out with Ed a little bit before the game. So anytime we have a chance to get out and hang out with those of you who listen to the show, always a blast. And for you, making our trip better at life than Skip Bayless.
They always make everything better, the little flockers. There's no doubt about that. And I'm looking forward to next year. I'm pretty sure that going to be a lot more opportunities to get out and see all y'all. And I'm excited.
And while I'm also giving Better at Life honors to our flockers, I got to give it to J.C. Schilling, who hooked me up with one of the buddy passes for Alaska Airlines. It made it so it's cheaper to fly on the buddy pass than it is to get a tank of gas out to Seattle by, I don't know, twice as much. So,
especially these days. Yeah,
I know. And so I might be spoiled now in flying the direct route from here to Seattle and back. That was pretty nice.
Hey, it feels good to be a baller sometimes, man.
I had to, it wasn't completely baller because it was standby, but I made the very last seat in both directions. So
perfect.
No, it worked out awesome. In that way, I did feel a little bit baller because it was like, okay, they recognize that I need to make this flight. They got me on it. They got me home, and it worked out great.
Nah, that's super cool, man. And since somehow our calendars are sort of linked somewhere in iCal somehow, that had all your flight information. That came right to me. I don't know how, but it did. But it happened.
I think it just must share it because we have the Seahawkers Gmail.
Oh, maybe that's where it's
on both of our phones.
All right, that makes sense. So I got really because I was flying at a different time, and then I got an alert that it was time to check in for the flight. Like all this, I was like, wait, what? No, I'm not even
I'm not going to Seattle, or am I?
Yeah, I'm not going to FCA. Where the hell's FCA? Oh, right, that's Cal's.
Well, one of these days, we'll have our game flight schedules linked up.
It's happening.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.